Hello there. This is Sherry Simpson coming to you on February 22nd. Excuse me. I am coming to you from Armstrong, British Columbia, and this reading is for Leo. Leo, you've been in my head for about 2 days, bringing me all sorts of information about what it is you needed. So I'm going to go through some of the stuff that came to me over the last couple of days before I get into your cards. So I'm a transformational life coach. I do psychic readings and medical intuitive readings. So I can tap into other people's bodies. I can tap into your Akashic records, healing things from past lives, through past generations, through childhood and karmic patterns and things like that. And so some of the things that came up for you through me this month so far, Leo, was that I always think of you as Simba. So if you hear me say Simba, it just means that I'm thinking about the character from The Lion King, and Simba to me has that special quality of being very heart-centered and very playful and very fun, but also that sense of being very like, I am powerful and having boundaries and very confident as he moved into being like the adult. So in that sense, I think of you almost sort of like a Libra and balancing things. And that's kind of the information that came to me over the last couple of days. So the first thing that came to me a couple of days ago was many of you are actually feeling tight. I'm thinking most of you on the right side versus the left. So I don't know if many of you are more right-handed and right dominant. But if you're feeling any issues with your shoulder blades on either side, if you're feeling like your heart is closed, like you've been doing a lot, like you're pulled forward, maybe you've been on the computer, maybe you've been driving a lot, maybe you've been riding a bike, maybe some of you are taking spin classes or something like that. And what happens when we feel closed off is that we actually need to open up the chest or the pec on the front side. So I've been a massage therapist. I've been a massage therapist working in a couple different locations through Ontario and Nova Scotia the last 6 years. So one of the things people don't realize when they have issues with the shoulder blade, especially at the back, is that the pain and tension that climbs up the neck is actually from being overstretched. So if you were to look at yourself in the mirror, you might actually look something sort of like this, because your body is rolling forward, because your head might be over to this side, maybe you hold the phone, or maybe you sleep on this side. Then usually the side that hurts is the side that's too long, and you need to either stretch it the other way or stretch it the other way as an opening through here. Many people don't realize that you actually need to stretch the front chest muscle, or just work it with your hand. Usually I use like a tennis ball or a racquetball, and I'll just roll it here underneath the shoulder. You can do openings in here, but I get the sense that you're feeling sort of closed off, that you might be kind of headachy, that you might actually be having some jaw pain or feeling your teeth kind of weird. And if that's the case, just literally do a little bit of self-care. Maybe you've been taking care of everyone else, Leo, rather than yourself, and it's time for you to balance that. So balance has come up a lot today. I think that's why I needed to wait until February 2nd on the 20th, or February the second month on the 22nd day of an 11-year, which is actually a 2-year. So think about all the twos that is. That's 2 for the month of February, 2 for 22nd day, and 2 for the universal year, which is an 11 and reduces to a 2. And what that means is you're probably being torn in a whole bunch of different directions. And so you really need to sort of find some balance between your giving and your receiving. Find some balance in what you're doing with your right side of your body and your left side. So your right side is your giving and your left side is your receiving. You might even be feeling like disconnected or imbalanced with logically thinking about too many things. You might be feeling kind of headachy, and you might actually be disconnected from the ground. So you need to be connected on a human level and a spiritual level. You need to be connected logically and through your heart, through the masculine and the feminine side. So I feel like you're doing a lot of juggling and a lot of balancing, and and a lot of giving and not necessarily as much receiving, or giving to others but not to yourself. So see if you can balance that out, Leo. The other thing that came up for me is that it's time for you to heal some stuff that you may have been either storing back there, or just feeling like it's time to release. And if that's the case, what I want you to think about doing is to actually send one of those huge big roars that you have within you, Leo, that lion that you are, or that lioness that you are. And I want you to think about roaring two different sides of it. So you're sending the Simba forgiveness and kindheartedness and lovingness, and this I'm setting boundaries and I'm no longer people pleasing and I'm always going to be part of the equation now. You're sending both of those. So you're sending a very like kind, gentle playfulness, and a very powerful, I'm setting the boundaries, I am strength, I am powerful. You're going to send that through your father's and your mother's side back through generations. You're going to send that through your childhood back until the time you were born. You're going to send that through all levels and layers of your consciousness, so that your super consciousness, your subconsciousness, and your consciousness all understands you're forgiven, you're allowed to be playful, you're allowed to be working very hard as a 9 to 5 or whatever it is that you do, and you're allowed to balance those things. But I get the sense that releasing some of that past and sending some forgiveness, but also sending some boundaries back in all of those directions, is going to really help you move forward. So we're moving forward after the new moon that happened in February on the 15th of the month, and we're setting ourselves up for a full moon on March 1st. And March is one of those months where we're going to have a double full moon. So it's actually going to be a blue moon in March because we have two. So it's going to feel very active, whereas now you actually might be feeling like you want to act but you're tired. Or again, like tying in that imbalance thing. You want to do things but you don't quite know what to do. You want to do things from a logical perspective but you don't know how to tie in your heart. And I get the sense that some of that is tied into your past. So that's why I'd like you to send some love through past generations, mother's and father's side, send forgiveness back there, but also send some personal power and some confidence and some releasing of people pleasing, and releasing that through your childhood and through your past lifetimes and through all your consciousness layers. This is the type of work that I do through the Akashic Records of people. So I'm just asking you to connect in to all of the experiences you've had before this, in all lifetimes, in all dimensions, through all levels and layers of your consciousness. And you're just going to send balance back through all of those, so you can step into a place of balance today on the 22nd, or whenever you watch this, that allows you to connect in to that two energy in a different way. So the two energy, you'll find, is a little bit different than the one energy. Last year we had the one energy where it was all about independence, planting new seeds, getting things moving. It was very logical, it was very masculine, it was very doing. And now we're in an 11 year, which is a 2 year, which is very feminine. It's about receiving, it's about emotions, it's about realizing what it is that we've planted and how we actually want to nourish that and grow it, so that we can actually celebrate it when we get to the 9 year, which will be further along, obviously. But connecting into that, and so balancing that. And I'm going to pull some cards. So what I like to do is pull 4 different cards. One of them is about the physical body and what's going on. And I get the sense that some of that is tightness through the chest, some of that is tightness in the neck. If you're feeling tightness here in the neck, it's because you're actually tight through this muscle, and you can release and stretch that and move it around a little bit. If you're feeling the tightness here, likely if you look in the mirror, you'll actually look like this, which means that you need to loosen up on this side in order to get your head to go back to normal. Because if you put all the heat and all of those magic bags and wonderfulness on this side, then that's going to loosen this up, and it's not going to loosen up this side, so you're going to remain tight on the side that's actually pulling you this way. and on the sides that are actually pulling you this way, which is opening this up. So you need to allow some release to happen on the opposite side in order to make the side that hurts feel better. So I'm pulling a card on a physical sense for you. I'm going to pull a card on a logical sense and see where your thoughts and your beliefs are today. I'm going to pull a card for you emotionally to see where your heart-centeredness and your emotions are. And then I'm going to pull a fourth card about your spiritual guidance. So far I'm going to pull from the John Holland Psychic Tarot for the Heart deck. I really like this deck because John Holland's cards have a lot of color in it. They have a lot of, isn't that interesting? Bottom of the deck is challenging times, so I get the sense that challenging times for you are over, but I get the sense that in order not to get pulled back in that way, you need to allow yourself to do some of that moving into the 6 number, which is really about balancing energies in a different way. That just came out for you. So your physical card is about it's about releasing, which I was just talking about, and about sending stuff from the past through the past. So I get the sense that you're thinking about release in a way that may only be on one level. And it may be that you're thinking about it like too logically, and that you can release things very quickly if you step into the thoughts and beliefs, and if you step into the emotions, and if you step into the spiritual connection. So this makes me think that you may be trying to release things more on a human level. So maybe you're releasing food, maybe you're changing your diet, maybe you're changing your exercise plan. So you're releasing old and bad habits, which is awesome. But if you're not switching the patterns that are associated with that, if you're not switching the thoughts and beliefs, so if you're eating good food, but you're really wishing that you were eating food that tastes better, or you're really wishing that you were eating or not exercising. So maybe you're going to a gym and you really don't like going to a gym. So you've released the pattern of not exercising, but now you've added exercise that you don't like. And so see if you can release things in a different way to allow yourself to come into opening up to what it is that you really want, and to release all of that darkness and heaviness, all of the obligation, all of the guilt, anything else that you're feeling is sort of heavy. Because I get the sense that you're on the right path, but maybe you're doing things in a way that are releasing but not serving you, or you have been releasing stuff, but maybe you've actually forgotten that when we create a void by releasing things, regardless of whether that's releasing addictions or old patterns or past things, that we actually need to replace or fill that space. So the university, interesting. Maybe you're actually bringing in some knowledge as well. The universe loves a void, but you need to actually allow and tell and ask the universe what it is that you want to bring in. So if you're releasing everything that is associated with obligation and guilt and things being really hard and things being not good for you and things being like releasing physical things in your surroundings, like you've been releasing, you've been hoarding, you've been releasing clothing that you don't need and things from the garage and things like that, but you haven't actually cleaned the space. So making sure that you're actually sweeping out the garage afterwards and filling that space, and then thinking, okay, what is it that I really want in here? Do I want to see a new vehicle in the garage? Do I want to see a new lawnmower? Do I want to see some really cool patio equipment? In your clothing, if you've been releasing a whole bunch of clothes that no longer serve you or no longer fit or no longer are associated with the colors that you want to wear, then before you've actually filled that space with things that you want to envision, what is it that I want to bring in? And that's kind of where that number 2 and 11 comes in, because you're going within to actually decide and determine and nourish yourself. So you're determining and deciding what it is you want to nourish yourself with. So as soon as you start to bring those thoughts and patterns in, then it allows you to nourish yourself in a totally different way. And if you don't do that, it's as though your release was actually for naught, because you haven't changed the energy. You haven't cleared out the old energy. So if you do things on a spiritual nature, you could burn some sage to release the energy. You could take an Epsom salts bath to release anything from your body that's not serving you. You could bring some fresh flowers into your house or something like that. So you're switching the energy and allowing that whole process of release that I think you've already done to be set in a different way. And if you are a super logical person and not open to the spiritual side, I want you to think about opening up to that in a different way. Not necessarily in a godlike way or a universal way, but in a way that there's more to this life than what you see and you can tactilely touch, and open to seeing things in a different way. So releasing the old patterns, opening up your heart to feel things differently if you've been more logic. But I get the sense that the release on that physical sense needs to change and incorporate other things. And I get the sense that that's what this message is. And your physical body is actually going to feel so much better and so much lighter once you allow that shift to happen. And this actually, the 13, when you add 3 and 1 together, it reduces to a 4, which brings me to the 22 day of today. It was a 4-day. Then it's very balanced, it's very masculine, it's very grounded, it's very from the heart and giving, but allowing yourself to receive as well. So that 4th is very grounded. So allowing yourself to step into that. Let's see what your mental body in terms of thoughts and beliefs are wanting to share with you today. So I believe that our thoughts become things, and our thoughts become things because when we continually think a thought, it becomes a belief. And then once we have a belief, it's as though we've set up this truth about how the world works. And if we see things as truthful, then that's more of what we focus on, and that's more of what we bring to us. So that's how the thoughts become beliefs, become reality. That ties into emotions, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Ooh, it's that one. Joy and stability. That's funny because it's a 4. So we're on a 4-day today. We pulled up a 4 card of release, and now mentally we pulled up a 4 card. So very much about balance, very much about, this also makes me think about you stepping into a place of creativity and creatively thinking about releasing and connecting things in a different way, but also about stepping into that big Leo power that you have, that big, that strength, and that whole sense of I can be playful and I can be fun, but I can also be extremely empowering and very powerful and very confident and very like, rah, I'm the lion. And so lions are very playful. The cubs are very playful. They play and they have fun, and they're awesome. I love lions, but you also need to step into that adult place where you can do and you can act, and I get the sense that you want to do that in a way that's not reactive, that allows you to stay in your own personal power and confidence. So if you've been thinking thoughts that have become beliefs that are you're feeling set in your ways, then perhaps part of that is what you're actually have been releasing, and being set in your ways has done certain things to you on a physical nature that has maybe closed off your heart and stacked up some shoulds on your shoulders. So maybe that's where that comes, where you're feeling sort of tight and maybe headacheish and sort of holding on to words in your jaw or anything like that. It can be about being stuck in a place of old patterns and old thoughts. So I get the sense from this card, which is joy and stability, that you can allow yourself to be joyful and playful and stable. And I think that's important to you, to have some stability. And so I get the sense that, and this is one of those things I was thinking this morning as I was waking up, when I was playing in your energy a little bit, was that you might have different hats that you wear. So maybe if you go to your job, you're actually wearing that 9 to 5 hat that's very powerful. and very empowering, but maybe it's not creative, maybe it's not joyful, maybe it's not playful. And so when you go home, you're more in that like playful state, but then you're not in that active do it state. So maybe your significant other gets upset that you're very playful at home, but maybe you don't take out the garbage, or maybe you don't do things in a more active doing way because you do that at work. So you're wearing different hats in different places, and that's feeling off balance because you're not feeling like you're your true self in either position, because you're over giving on the masculine, powerful strength in one location, and then you're over giving on the playful thing somewhere else in a different relationship or a different situation. So I want you to think about, can you balance that within yourself and within your relationships and within your activities throughout your day, and see if you can bring more joy and more stability and more personal power. And what the other circles here making me think of is, this is your creativity, this is your closest relationships, and this is more about your intuition. So really combining the information from your third eye, which is brings me to all of that stuff at the beginning where we were healing your past, where we were healing all things that are about yourself that have come through your DNA, through the generations on your mother's and father's side, that have come through all of your past lives, that have come through your subconscious and superconscious and your actual conscious, based on what happened to you as a child until now. So see if you can joyfully bring stability and balance with that third eye, connecting into that powerful Leo energy that you have and your creativity. And see if you can balance the thoughts and the beliefs there to allow you to just move into life in a totally different way that is opening you up to things that maybe you didn't feel you could be open to before. That this new energy, this new moving in from the new beginnings and planting seeds through into the double full moons in March is going to help you with. So now I'm going to pull in an emotional card. Whoop. Ah, awesome. I love it when the cards just shoot out like that. So this emotional card for you is about manifestation. So the number one is about very quick manifestation. So I get the sense that once you have released any old physical patterns and balanced your physical body in a different way, and opening up to releasing anything that's keeping you stuck, and sending that energy both of playfulness and forgiveness and your own confidence and personal power through that whole past generation and past time and childhood and all of that stuff. So you're balancing the stuff of the past, that you'll end up releasing any obligation, any guilt, any heaviness, any darkness, and allowing yourself to open up to connecting to yourself and to the world and in your relationships around you and to your physical body in a different way. And this is interesting because when you are open to connecting things from source through your third eye and opening up to all of the chakras and all of the energy and all of the mastery, bringing in joy and stability, bringing in creativity, bringing in that abundant confidence that you have as the Leo, and bringing in all of the intuition about what it is that you want, desire, and learning from the past. So after you've sent all of that healing through the past, you can actually allow it all to come forward into a place of, now this is what I desire to create. So once you've released on a physical level and released and changed your thoughts and your beliefs, then you're going to be able to connect into the emotion, which is how we manifest. So on an emotional, and this is so resonating, this is awesome. So how we manifest, the law of manifestation is about bringing our emotions, which are our vibration or our frequency, into tangible physical things. So the universe, I like to think of as a puppy. This puppy does not respond to hand commands like sit or lay down. All it does, and it doesn't respond to our verbal cues, the universe responds to us emotionally. So on a vibrational, emotional level, What is it that you're giving out? If you're giving out the sense of feeling guilty or feeling obligated, or that you have to be a certain way at work and you have to be a certain way at home, and you're not feeling stable and you're not feeling playful and you're not feeling abundant, then it's difficult for you to manifest because you're manifesting how you feel. And so once you tap into your emotions and decide what it is that you want to feel or want to manifest on a tangible level, then you bring that tangible thing or things into emotions. So what does that mean? I like to use something like a red Jeep as an example. If you want to manifest a red Jeep into the physical, and that's why you clean the garage, and now you're imagining a red Jeep sitting in the garage, then in order to manifest that red Jeep, you not only want to start talking about it and feeling it within yourself and creating it with a balance between giving and receiving and allowing from this like secret chest that you have that is going to be opening up through your emotions. But what you want to do is think, what does the red Jeep in the garage represent for me on an emotional level? Is it safety? Is it fun? Is it play? Is it joy? Is it um, whatever else it is for you? Is it protection? Is it I get the sense that it's more so play and fun for you, and it's things like that. But whatever it is, you need to feel that emotion, because what happens when we're actually sending that vibration out to the universe as that puppy is the puppy is going to bring everything to us that matches the emotion. So that means that we need to feel successful if we want the success of a red Jeep to show up in the garage. We want to feel safe if we want the safety of a red Jeep to show up in the garage. We want to feel abundant in all ways if we want the red Jeep that's going to show up in the garage to be abundant, because the puppy that we're teaching how to fetch for us responds to how you're feeling. So really connecting into your emotions, and once you figure out how to do that, once you release physically, mentally, and emotionally what it is that's not serving you and connect into that real Leo power that you have, where you're connecting in that playfulness and that sense of power and strength and the lion and the protector. And once you allow yourself to be joyful and stable and to have the creativity within your closest relationships and to be powerful and to connect into that third eye and all that is, and lots of four energy, so lots of balance, then you're going to be able to manifest whatever you want. Doing it from a place of, what does this thing that I want to tangibly bring into my life, what does it feel like? What is it going to do for me? So many people are like, oh, I just want to win the lottery. And if you have that sense, then you actually need to write down all of the emotions that you want to feel when you win the lottery. And then that's going to bring you way closer to winning the lottery, because you're actually imagining winning the lottery as an emotion. And it's not about paying off all the bills or feeling less stressed, because that's actually going to make you feel like you have more bills and more stress, because that's what you're concentrating on. That's not what you want to manifest. So from an emotional place, you don't want to think about having more stress, and you don't want to have to think about what paying more bills makes you feel, and that will probably make you feel stuck and rigid and trapped and things that you don't want to feel. You want to feel strong. You want to feel powerful. You want to feel playful. You want to feel abundant. You want to have more fun. So you want to connect into those emotions in order to manifest what you want. Let me see what Spirit is going to bring to you about that today. Leo, I'm hoping this is resonating with you. If you are a Leo sun sign, then this is a good video for you. Also, if you're a Leo moon or a Leo rising sign, your rising sign is how you present yourself to the planet. So it's this jacket that you wear that when you first meet people, that's what they see. Your sun sign is often deeper, and so your closest friends may get to see the sun sign that is Leo. But if you are a Leo rising sign, then you're sharing with the people you are just meeting that Leo-ness about you. So watching, if you are only a Leo sun, you're not a Leo moon or a Leo rising, then watch the other videos that I have that are with your moon sign and your rising sign in order to get a more balanced reading. And you can do that with any of the YouTube videos. If my videos are not resonating with you, just do that with someone else's videos, because you may be called to watch this for your sun sign and someone else's for your moon sign, and that's the third one, I think. And someone else's for your rising, and that's cool. You're going to be drawn to the information. Isn't that interesting? Drawn to the information that is what you need. So information from Spirit here. I'm getting a little laugh here because today is all about even numbers. And what we pulled in here was a 15, which reduces to a 6, which is about nourishing. And so if we look at the 2-month and the 22-day, then that brings us to a 6, which is about nourishment. So I get the sense that once you're releasing things from the past and sending stuff in, and once you're connecting into how can I be joyful and stable, and how can I touch with my emotions in a way that's helping me manifest, then this is actually going to bring you to mastery. This is going to allow you to master things that are going to nourish you, things that are going to nourish the people around you. You can be a master of your domain once you are ready to balance all of those things that came before this on the physical, mental, and emotional level. And you're going to feel like a master when all of what you're doing feels balanced and heart-centered. And so this is interesting because I usually think of the 4, which these cards both reduced to a 4. So joy and stability was a 4, and the 13 when you add together was a 4. And I always think about a 4 being around the heart, where you actually need your right side of giving and your left side of receiving, and your logicalness and your humanness. And so the logicalness is everything above your head, and the humanness is the chakras and everything as you're moving forward and manifesting into the physical. And once you get a nice, beautiful balance with that 4 in the center of your heart, then it's as though you can master anything. It's as though you can give and receive, and you know that giving to yourself and giving to others is where the balance is. And this is you balancing your playfulness and your strength and power and your ability to protect and serve others. So I get the sense that once all of these things are released and balanced for you, that you are going to be a master of manifesting anything that you desire. And I get the sense that you're going to practice this over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm feeling that when you're watching this, if it's still within February or the beginning of March, that this video is going to be good for you up until about the 11th of March. And so that 11th of March is the 11th day. And I get the sense that Spirit is telling you that you're definitely in alignment with this, and you'll be even more so once you do some of those things that I suggested on a physical, on a mental, and an emotional level, that you're totally going to be able to master this whole life, this whole manifestation, this whole bringing things into balance. So the other card that I got was an 8, and of course if you look at February, which was a 2, and the 22-day, and then the 11 year, then that's an 8. And I talked a little bit about abundance, or I thought about abundance anyway, about how the 8 is actually infinity, and it is infinity on its side. So if you think about an 8 being, the 8 part here is in the heart center, in the middle of your heart, and then the top part is actually connecting the spirit and connecting the logic and connecting who you are at that soul level and at that deep level with the humanness and with bringing things into the physical and tangible. So you actually have a pattern of an 8. That's where abundance comes in. That's where personal power and strength and confidence and wealth and all of those things come in. And I get the sense that this came in reverse because because you're not moving on, and I don't think that you want to move on. I get the sense that for some reason I get the sense that you're moving in. So maybe some of you are actually thinking about moving in with a partner, and that you wanted this information about whether you should move on or move in. If this resonates with you, I'm saying move in and not move on. But if you were to look at this card in the upright position, this gentleman has water on one side and beach on the other side, and he's moving on in life out into the physical. So I get the sense that if that is what you want to do, then you actually need to do it in the opposite direction, releasing that stuff from the past that may be keeping you stuck, allowing yourself to balance through and be more stable in the things that you're doing. So again, I get the sense that you may be acting or wearing a certain hat or being a certain way that is not necessarily joyful in places of stability like your 9-to-5 job or your relationships, but you want more of that in that area. And so I get the sense that once that has happened, yes, you're going to be manifesting. Yes, you're going to be a master. If we've looked at these numbers, we got 2 4s, and then we got a 1 about manifestation, and then we got a 6, and now we're on to the 8. So allowing yourself to move on once all of those things that I've already talked about are resolved in balance. Then I get the sense that if you want to move on, that you're going to be able to do it much easier and much quicker with less ties, with less stickiness. So if you're like, oh, I don't want to move in, I do want to move on, then that other stuff needs to happen first. The releasing of old patterns, the not wearing different hats in different places and allowing yourself to be who you are in all nature. So allowing yourself to be playful and to be the protector and the confident, powerful person all at the same time, rather than when I'm at this job, I need to wear this hat, and when I'm in this relationship, I need to wear this hat. So this is about moving through the past for you and allowing that stuff to heal, allowing your stuff to manifest, allowing yourself to master that, and then deciding whether you want to move on or whether you want to move in. So the moving on I'm getting as a not yet, but I'm getting if you have balanced everything else and become the master of manifestation that I know you're going to be, then you're going to know exactly what to do with this this 8, this abundance, this worthiness, this wealthiness. You're going to know what to do with that by the time you get to the 11th of March, and that makes me think walking through that pillars of the ones as you move. So if you're feeling unclear, if you're feeling an imbalance, if you're feeling like you're sort of stuck, then it's going to be clear by the 11th, but I get the sense that there's stuff that you need to do, and you're in the process of doing it, and you're manifesting what you need in order to make this happen, but you're not quite there yet. And I get the sense that you're going to be doing it from a heart-centered place, and when you are dropping into that heart-centered place, then this whole decision, this abundance, this moving on or moving in, is just going to be a natural progression. It's just going to be whatever it is, and it's going to be easy, and you're just going to know it. You're just going to trust your intuition and know that it's something that you actually manifested based it on the emotions that you connected with, rather than a sense of running back to the past, or a sense of running away from things, or a sense of moving on when you're not ready. That's all the information I have for you today, Leo. I'm hoping that was beneficial and it was exactly what you needed. Feel free to like, share, comment, or subscribe to the channel. And if there's any information that you want to share with me, then I will leave some contact information in the description box below. Making sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising videos if they are of a different sign. I don't have them all up yet, but they are coming. And if you want a personal reading, if this sort of hit the surface but it wasn't quite enough, then I will leave the links for you there as well. So namaste. I hope that you are a master in manifestation. I'm setting that intention for you by the 11th of March. So have a beautiful couple of weeks. And thank you so much for your time and your energy.